Bonjour and hello Wranglers. Welcome to the hatchery. My name is Canadian Guy A, and I'll be your guide as we go over the different species of voidlings that you'll encounter in Voidling Bound. Our next voidling is an insect that is specialized in using radiation beams and kinetic waves. And if those don't work, well, a straight punch in the mouth is just as good. Meet the Packaran. The Packaran is quite an interesting species. It's an insect-like voidling from planet Aulis. They are incredibly territorial creatures and have a horrid temper. Though they are not the biggest, they are the heaviest voidling discovered thus far, with some specimens weighing well over 600 pounds. Packaran in the wild use their wings to create frequencies that other creatures can hear, telling them to stay away. Unfortunately, humans can't hear it. So if you decide to bind with this voidling, you must remain alert and pay attention to other signals to avoid provoking it. However, if you can manage it, this voidling packs a huge punch. The Packaran is a close-range voidling that can take out large swaths of enemies using radiation beams and waves. Yes, this is essentially an insect that shoots laser beams. Its primary attack is Laser Fan. The Packaran uses its inherent ability of radiation to shoot waves of damage, allowing it to take down large groups of enemies. A detail you should know is that unlike previous voidlings, your evolution path completely changes its primary attack, from shooting small insects that are connected by a laser tether to one continuous beam of death. So don't just focus on the final evolution. We will cover more of that in the evolution section of the presentation. Its secondary ability is Focused Charge. After a short charge, the Packaran dashes and knocks back enemies in its path and deals damage. It's great for repositioning and blowing through enemies. The Packaran also has a concussive slam ability. After a short dash, it slams down on the ground and stuns nearby enemies around it. The Packaran has a melee ability like every other voidling, but on its final blow, it flourishes, dealing damage to all those around it. Finally, its ultimate ability is Void Maw, where the Packaran can invoke a micro wormhole and sucks in enemies, and then collapses them in a blast of damage. The key to playing the Packaran is to not stay in one spot for too long, but not be too distant either. Being able to string your dashes and stuns in a way that maximizes damage output and minimizes damage taken will be the telltale sign of a skilled Wrangler. If you wish to bind with the Packaran, you must know it has two trees of evolution, Plasma and Cyber. The common themes in both lines are spawning additional bugs to deal damage, dealing different types of damage, and status effects. In the Plasma tree, you will get two different lines of evolutions, the Clustered line and the Isolated line. If you choose the Clustered line of evolution, all the Packaran's primary attacks will change into Razor Flux, which becomes a wide-range wave of damage tethered by a laser. Enemies get hit, are pushed, and also receive damage over time. In this tree, you can get access to the Hatching Packaran. When destroying an enemy, there's a chance to spawn little hatchlings that fly to nearby targets, damaging them and making them infested. Another evolution you could try is the Bedbug Packaran. This evolution line puts enemies to sleep with its dash. When they're asleep, any damage done to the target begins to bleed and spawns healing orbs for you to collect. If you decide to go with the Isolated Packaran line, its main attack changes into a large, slow, but continuous beam that passes through enemies and applies disintegration over time. In this line, you can get access to the Ascended Packaran. When you destroy an enemy, it spawns a Power Blob. When you pick up that Power Blob, it reduces the cooldown of your ultimate, allowing you to use it more often in a fight. If you choose the Forsaken Packaran, a previous upgrade in that line grants the dash ability a chance of making the Packaran go invisible if you hit a single target. The Forsaken mutation further improves this by adding significant health regeneration while you are invisible. If you choose the Cyber Tree of Evolutions, you will have the choice between the Powered line or the Discharged line. If you choose the Powered line, all the Packaran's evolutions will have their primary attack changed to Voltaic Wave, a short but wide wave that damages, pushes back, and applies static to enemies. In this line, you can get access to the shocking Packaran. When you get close, the Packaran will both zap and apply fear to enemies, sending them fleeing scared. Or you can get access to the Tractor Packaran, where you can use a tractor beam on up to 3 nearby targets, allowing you to drag them around. Linked enemies also are damaged, periodically get static charges, and the more enemies you have hooked up, the more stamina regeneration you get. In the discharge line of Packaran, all the mutations will have their primary attack changed to Convergent Rays, where the Packaran shoots 2 beams of damage that apply static and reduces armor from the target. In this line, you can get access to the Vaporized Packaran. When you are in the air, a damage over time beam is shot straight down, dealing continuous damage to anyone below. Or you can try the Firefly evolution. When you trigger static discharge, the target also gets 5 stacks of burn, making it both a burning and shocking experience. There are 31 different forms of the Packaran, with 16 final evolutions. However, and understand, our hardware might be faulty, because I have found not 1, not 2, but 3 different rare mutations of the Packaran. If this is true, this would be an unheard of breakthrough, so if you can, please try and find all 3, if they even exist to begin with. When upgrading the Packaran, there are a number of key upgrades that are quite important. Power Source is a great upgrade for your main attack, as it increases its damage depending on how close the enemy is, who can take up to double the damage. If you grab the Absorb and Repel upgrade, the Packaran's Concussive Slam can now absorb and send back nearby enemy projectiles. Finally, an upgrade for the ultimate, Hungering Void, makes it so that the more targets that you pull into the wormhole, the more damage it does to everyone in it when it collapses. The Packaran is best used when it's on the edge of danger, constantly dashing, moving, and repositioning itself. While it's best used on the edge of peril, being directly in the danger is not the best idea, as the Packaran doesn't have any inherent way to recover a lot of health, so dashing right into a circle of enemies with no plan of escape is not a great idea. The charge is also not the best way to dodge attacks, as it requires time to charge up. If you simply just tap it, it will do nothing. However, if you jump before you charge, the Packaran can float in the air for a few seconds before launching itself. However, there is another way to avoid damage. The Concussive Slam gives a small dodge and makes the Packaran invulnerable for a short window of time. So if you get caught in a big enemy's attack, if you time it right, you can outright negate its initial damage. If you start to get surrounded, Concussive Slam the nearby enemies, charge up your dash, and zip to a safer point. The Packaran is certainly a big, angry laser bug, but all we need to do is redirect that angry laser energy towards the Legion forces, and they may just be the key to saving us from the Legion. That's all for today's Voidling Spotlight, and you now have been introduced to all currently discovered Voidlings. However, the universe is vast, and we are making new discoveries every day, so stay tuned in case we discover more. You are finally ready to step into the Neurobind Station for your first mission. We wish you the best of luck, Wrangler. See you all next time.